Well, when it comes to climate change, the world's perspective on the issue has moved on in the last 4 years. So is the United States returning to the Paris Climate Agreement a mere symbolism, or is it an act cloaked in powerful political significance? I'm joined now by Kingsmill bond energy strategist at the London-based think tank Carbon Tracker. Just how significant is it that the US is now going to rejoin as widely predicted? Because actually in the United States itself, it was down to states to take quite a lot of the action, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. But this is nevertheless an absolutely key tipping point. Having been a laggard in the energy transition and having tried to hold back the energy transition, the US has now switched sides. It's like the biggest kid in the playground moving from one side of the seesaw to the other side of the seesaw. It's very, very significant.
What practical change is it going to make? How will we see the difference?
So there's so much that can be done. So take, for example, the UK, which has halved its carbon footprint in the last decade. The US has done very little. So the US really can do, the federal government can put in place a whole series of new measures. So, for example, the Keystone Pipeline is one, but changing the legislative environment to enable individual states to pursue renewable energy friendly policies, making polluters pay for their pollution, and so on and so forth. It can really copy what's happening in many other countries because, as I say, it has been a laggard and now it can just put into place what many other people have been doing.
Of course, there was some support for President Trump's actions on this, partly on the jobs front. Isn't there going to be a political risk for Joe Biden just to simply reverse it through executive order?
Well, the extraordinary thing about the opportunity of embracing these new energy technologies is that actually over the last 4 or 5 years, their costs have collapsed. And what that means, it creates an amazing opportunity that Biden can now take advantage of. So it's cheaper to put up solar and wind. It's cheaper to put in electric vehicle transport systems and than their fossil fuel equivalent. And therefore, that means there's more jobs, there's more growth, there's cleaner air, and it's a very powerful unifying force that he can bring to bear.
I mean, it was a sort of key rallying cry for those on the left of the party in particular, and it's perhaps something that unifies, the elites on the east and west coast internally. But for others, it might, be seen as something that, sounds nice, but if it has actual cost to people's lives, then they might not welcome it so much.
Well, in fact, the cost to people's lives are the costs of polluted air and sticking with dying technologies. There is, of course, one further point which appeals to both sides of the American divide, which is that China has taken the lead in the new energy systems and has leapfrogged the United States. And rather like the Soviet Union in the 1950s, America faces being buried by its Chinese competitors. And therefore, as a result, Biden can now draw upon that fear of the United States falling behind to, I think, draw in many other different constituencies right across America.
OK, we will leave it there. Thank you very much indeed for your time. Very good to speak to you. Thank you.